Welcome back to the Tone 202 show. We talk about that which needs to be explained. And today, we have a video that was requested. The Georgia Guidestones. Let's get into it. What's the business, everybody? How you doing? Now, let me go on record to say that I don't know much about the Georgia Guidestones. And I never really looked into them, but I heard about them because, like most people, I'm a fan of history. I am a fan of the strange, the unexplained, and, monoliths. I dig buildings, old and new. So the Georgia Guidestones do have some attraction. I never thought about going down to the small town to see them, but they are Stonehenge-like, and of course that was done on purpose. These stones were put up by one person, not who actually put them there. The idea was by one person who represented, like a church of people, not necessarily a church, but he had a following, and him and his following had the financial means to go to a granite company, Stones, and say, hey, can we do this? Can we put this here? This happened back in 1979 or 1980, depends on who you're talking to. So I would say late 79 into 1980. And they said, yeah, you can do this, and this is how much it costs, and so forth. The stone has a lot of meaning to it. For one, it's the town that it sits in. It sits as the highest point of the town. If you're looking through one end of it, it's there is a hole that actually, where the sunrise comes up, it catches that, and it also catches certain stars. So they built it right there for astrological purposes, as well as the message that is written. Chinese and German and other languages, 12 different languages. They said these stones are going to represent what humanity should do in case of a all-out chaos. Now, I did know that I think it was a Georgia Guidestones that had something like 500,000 people, can, repopulate the planet, or, something like that, or you should knock down the population to 500,000 to be in control, or something to that fashion. I don't know. But nonetheless, the question is, why were they destroyed? Now, there are some people who think that the Georgia Guidestones have some type of evil purpose. And some of those people are in position of powers, and they're elected officials. And one official, I don't know their name, they passed what's called Executive Order 10. I tried to look it up, but I did not find what Executive Order 10 was. When I looked it up, I started, it took me all the way to Nigeria and what their president was doing and things along that line. And it took you into the Supreme Court of Nigeria. But, of course, we're not in Nigeria. So I couldn't find out what the exact order was, but there has what I'm alluding to is there are powerful people who decided that they didn't want them there. And whenever people who are in those positions of influence decide they don't want something around, then that something disappears. It could be as small as just an item and or a person, all the way up to, buildings, and whole countries have been wiped out just because somebody said we don't want them there. And sometimes they're wiped out by use of force. Sometimes they're just purely overtaken, and sometimes they have been usurped, meaning there's a new king or something along that line. And nobody passed away. It's just that, hey, it's a new regime. There's that. In this case, the Georgia Guidestones that have been sitting here for decades, what they did was they destroyed one part of it. But being that the stones were so close together, that explosion affected the whole set of the building. Now, these stones are 44 tons each. I mean, they're very, very heavy. And the way they're built, I guess they figured that if one of the wings was affected, then all of them are affected. So they tore it down. But they didn't just tear it down. They had, government officials and police and all that come out and look at it. So they're really looking for the person who did this, because it is sabotage for sure. Now, that's as far as we're at so far. But there is a meaning that it had to anyone who, really wanted to be involved with it. And of course, those feelings are mixed, but this story has a lot more to come to it, because when we finally figure out who did it, you'll figure out why they did it. And then, of course, there's going to be a whole trail of tears behind that. So that's as far as we're at for now. All right. So we'll wait and find out more later, and then we'll talk about it. Bye-bye.